What's up, guys? Wanted to do a little video today. I just got through watching a video by Rich Does Politics on YouTube, which I like to follow. He has a lot of the guests that I like on there because I like to follow Rich's channel, and I also follow Tommy's channel because they have Tommy's podcast. Because I kind of got somehow or another I came across Tom Luongo and really enjoyed Tom's stuff, and he was somebody that got me interested in because I'm a Bitcoin dude. I'd gotten interested in following Tom and his podcast, and then caught him on YouTube. And when I listen to Tom, if I can get 30 minutes or an hour of Tom a day, it helps cut down on my foul mouth. Keeps me from uh, having to cuss as much during the day. But anyway, no, really, I, I watched. I watched Trump's final chance, and I'm gonna go through a couple of things because this video is for nobody except for me, and if I can reach you four, uh, Rich, Alex Krainer, Susan Kokinda, and Tom Luongo. I've been following you guys for quite a while because you guys are the only thing that I've found on YouTube that can explain to me the moves that Trump and his administration, Scott Bessent, have been making in the background with some kind of sensible reality that makes, when you hear it, you go, oh, that makes sense. And so everything from basically destroying city of London, um, putting our foot on their neck and choking out the British Empire, and everything that's happened is as it's unfolded. I've listened, and yet in the midst of all that, several things happened. There was a genocide. Charlie Kirk was murdered, assassinated, and Candace Owens started an investigation into her friend's death. And as all this unfolded, I would listen to y'all's different podcasts at different times, whether he was on Tommy's podcast or whether he was on Rich Does Politics, and there was always something that bothered me, and it was the fact that Tom, because of his background, he would attack people like Thomas Massey or Marjorie Taylor Greene, different ones, Rand Paul, whoever it is, who are heroes in conservative circles. And so, and I'm not attacking Tom and saying this, but I want to do what I want to try to do is help maybe sharpen the tip of the message by telling you why people like me feel like we do. And because I'm not sure, there seems to be a disconnect there, and I'll play you a few clips that hopefully can help make my point. I'm gonna start out with this one.
Well, that is not going to win the midterms. The
Yeah.
only thing that's going to win the midterms is if you embrace Trump's economic revolution. First, you have to understand.
To embrace Trump's economic revolution. Most people have no idea what the hell she's talking about, and it's not her fault. It's not y'all's fault. I didn't know anything that was really going on because I don't. Here's the thing: I don't listen to Fox and CNN and any of those stupid channels that people my age and older. I'm 58. That people my age and older would normally listen to. Don't have that in my house. I'm a techie. I do computer stuff, YouTube, X, all this. Anyway, um, I I think that because of where we get our news, um, maybe I don't know, maybe it's on the regular news, but the only reason I knew about it was y'all. So um, that's going to bring up my next point, which is um, the message that y'all are sharing with the public needs to be heard, but sometimes it gets lost in the amount of content that you have to share. There's not like any small clips of you guys that are like viral X clips that were, that's something maybe we need to push. I don't know. Okay, so the rest of what she said is right there. It's first you have to understand it.
First, you have to understand it. Second, you have to support it. And then you have to go out and actually figure out how to communicate it. That's the big challenge that we have right now.
Absolutely. All right, now this is I'm gonna fast forward over into the video. It was later on, maybe just because everybody has to take their turn, to speak when you have three or four people on a cast. Now I'm going to move forward into the video where Alex says something that is pertaining back to what Susan had said, and I think he's spot on. And here we go.
That's a somewhat complex message, and it's going, you know, it's I don't know how far it goes in the moment where people are driven by raw anger. It's very emotional. And the reason why I thought the winning move would be to flush Israel down the toilet is because, uh, in addition to, the genocide in Gaza, the horrific abuse in the West Bank, genocide in South Lebanon, um, Epstein revelations, where it's like oozing from every pore that he's an Israeli asset, whether it's a Mossad or whatever.
Let's pause right
Doesn't
there. So the thing with Alex's message right here, he's spot on, and I'm sure y'all know this. He's spot on that it's it's an emotional roller coaster for the entire world. The genocide was one thing that a lot of people chose not to look at for whatever reason, and I'll pick it up here again with something else that Alex shared.
But like I'm kind of paying attention to the public mood over Epstein documents release and the way it ties to Israel, and the mood is souring to the point where I think that if Trump just abandons Israel, leaves them to their devices, uh, that's going to be the winning move.
Okay, so for those of us who have supported Trump, I supported Trump. I've got the hat, I voted, I've got the shirt. You miss, bitch. Um, I supported Trump, and it wasn't until the whole genocide, the Charlie Kirk assassination, the Candace Owens investigation, um, if that's what you want to call it, all these things that begin to take up all the breathing, all the air out of YouTube and every, for God's sake, you can get on her channel on any day that she's um, when she's got a show, and sitting in the lobby waiting on the show. There's 25,000 people, and by the time that it goes live, there's always 100 and something thousand, and by the time it's over and said and done, and you go back and look at the stats, there's a quarter million people, and then a few days in or whatever, it's got a million plus views on any of her shows. So um, that's who you're up against. That's who's with Candace on air pretty consistently saying, um, "I don't care about the midterms. I'm done with politics." Uh, you know, I understand the sentiment, and I feel the same way because I feel that we put our guy in, and now we're left with somebody who's not. Hold on, Tom. We're left with somebody who's not doing what we put them in there for. We said pull the plug, drain the swamp, and instead we've got a guy in there with a rubber mallet driving the dam. He's driving the stopper in deeper. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And I know it's hard to hear that, but that's the truth of the matter. We put the guy in there, and he's not doing it the way that we thought it was going to work out. And so, because of that, we've got a lot of voters who are, whether they're just burn it down, and then you got the Epstein files that have come out, and not just the fact that Trump made it so difficult for these files to come out, but when they came out, I mean, we pay taxes to, who what was y'all saying the other day, Tom? He eat the baby or whatever. So you've got you've got this going on, and and people are just done. I mean, we're paying our taxes to these Satan worshiping, baby eating, beef jerky eating, whatever they're doing, adrenochrome. I don't know what it is, but there's too many questions. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody wants to take part in this anymore because it's so fake. And so what I think happened is there's with Charlie Kirk's assassination, there's a spiritual movement in the country that may be somewhat overlooked from the political side. Where a little bit later in the video, and Tom said, "It's the economy, stupid," and he was quoting, I guess, James Carville. But and that normally is the way to win the election, and that'll go a long way for Trump, especially if the message gets out of what he's doing to break the old financial system and have this new financial system in place. The problem is um, that if some of those numbers, Tom said that he believes that the numbers, and I agree, he believes that the numbers are closer to 65 Republican, 35 Democrat in America, and in a lot of the states, it's just the cheating. Yeah, it's the cheating, stupid. So I agree with that, but the problem is, um, in order, like you said, midterms is when it's more difficult to get people out to vote, and so I think in order to put a fine point on the message would be to try to reach out to the people who are missing the message. And I feel like I'm like in tune and paying attention. And so when I when I watch a podcast and Tom is attacking Thomas Massey or Rand Paul or Marjorie Taylor Greene, unless you can tie them to something City of London, if you can show a connection between them and why it is that they're doing what they're doing, other than just being libertarian or conservative or America first only, America only, whatever, unless you can show that connection, unless you can paint that connection clearly for the listener, it becomes difficult it becomes difficult for someone like me to just discard that person. I've always liked Thomas Massey, and the fact that Trump went after him the way he did um, made me kind of step back, and go, what's the deal here? I I think Massey's, is a good guy. So show me the evidence of his corruption, like Steve Bannon. Now you've got the Epstein files that are showing the link there. That's awesome. That's awesome that you can easily paint that. Well, I think that's what's missing because these are people that the some of the base um you're gonna have to if you're gonna need them to win this, then you got to find a way to help them to understand either their connection to Israeli money, City of London, something. You have to give us something that says you can't trust these people's vote. And so when you throw guys in there like Tucker or Marjorie Taylor Greene, Rand Paul, Massey, whoever, it would be good to go into explanation of why, because without the why, it leaves people like me who really have enjoyed your message about LIBOR going away. And for people like me who have enjoyed your message and feel like you're on point when you talked about Trump's first administration and then the pause and then this administration and how LIBOR was shut down and SOFR was started up. I don't understand it all, and that's why it's so important for me when you guys are speaking because you're enlightening me, and so then when you're enlightening me about some of these awesome financial things that are happening, that I don't understand, and then you attack somebody that I thought was a good person, I'm just kind of left scratching my head. And so now I know that I don't know. I'm guessing that there might not be an easy way to draw lines to some of these people and say, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's bad because of this. Maybe there are, I don't know. Or Thomas Massey, he's bad because of this. But what I do know is that there is a spiritual element to this. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there's something that if you believe there's a God and there's a creator, there's something going on amongst the people, and it's something that's missing, and it's something that I think that all of us are missing, or everyone's missing in their the videos, the outrage and the anger that Krainer is talking about that is driving him to listen to other Israeli podcasts and things. That's coming from within, and it's a lack of justice. It's something that's talked about in the Bible. I'm sure it is in other religions too. But when there you see you've seen a genocide, you saw an assassination, probably by a foreign state. You've seen Trump basically holding hands with what most people say is the devil with Israel, and then you see all this Palantir and the technology that they're using, and Netanyahu being happy to see a Jewish entity, person, whatever, that is able to get a hold of TikTok and control this thing. And then we see on TikTok that people are being censored. So all of those things playing together, people just feel helpless, hopeless, and feel that there's no justice. And so that's the part that I think that is missing. And when if people like me who love you and your message, but then see you attack someone like Massey, who we believe is looking for justice, it makes it difficult for us to. For you, it's kind of like get on board, man. Trump's, he's saving the world. So what if this happened over here? Just hell with Thomas Massey. They can't do that. There's this side of justice that has to be dealt with, and I think that's what we may be missing as far as putting a finer point on the message. Now, Alex is about to bring up an incredible point, and of the same way that I feel um, about Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, and I think this is key. And the reason being, well, Tom is gonna he's gonna really put the icing on this one. I'll just play it out for you, and then we'll talk about it.
I think that if Trump just abandons Israel, leaves them to their devices, uh, that's going to be the winning move. And I could be wrong, but it seems to me that this is what he's done this week.
Now, I believe he's absolutely right, because for all of us who want justice, there's other things we might talk about in a minute that deal with real estate. But for now, for just the part of the justice, there is a large group of us who believe that Israel had a hand to play in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And Tom, what he says here is absolutely priceless.
I think that if Trump just abandons Israel, leaves them to their devices, uh, that's going to be the winning move.
Tom is fixing to really put an exclamation point on this, and this is so important to the part of the message that we are missing. If you want people to go to the polls, if you want people to understand the message, what Tom says right here.
And I could be wrong, but it seems to me that this is what he's done this week.
That's very
Uh,
interesting.
that is interesting, Alex. And you say that, and I'm like, and what I would say to you is, I agree with you, right? And once he's beaten the Senate and he's gotten everything out of the Senate that he wants, all of his AGs, all of his, let's get a fully staffed DOJ, please. Like, we have what, 18 U.S. attorneys as opposed to the 96 we're.
That part's important too, but that's not the part that I'm talking about. Let
But it
me
seems to
keep
me that
going.
this is what he's.
Very interesting.
That is interesting, Alex. And you say that, and I'm like, and
It's the next
what I
part.
would say to you is, I agree with you, right? And once he's beaten the Senate and he's gotten everything out of the Senate that he wants, all of his AGs, all of his, let's get a fully staffed DOJ, please. Like, we have what, 18 U.S. attorneys as opposed to the 96 we're supposed to have, right? Those aren't through yet. The SAVE Act needs to get passed. The, DHS funding, all of this stuff has to get done. And once that occurs,
This part.
I think you might get your wish, because he has no reason to kowtow to the Israeli lobby in the Senate or the House, because he won't need them for anything for the rest of the midterm until the end of the year. He won't need them. He doesn't have to tiptoe around whether or not he needs to get a vote out of Ted Cruz or this guy or that guy or whomever. And again, this is another reason why the Bannon Epstein connection and the Bannon crash out, because now all of that has no momentum anymore. Now all of that starts to fall apart really, really fast. And that changes. I mean, I think it's a game changer for American alternative media, because remember, Bannon is the biggest voice, and that, or his orbit is the biggest voice of the anti-Trump, not doing enough, quote unquote, MAGA crowd. Remember, C. Bannon likes to believe that he's the true MAGA, not Donald Trump. He thinks Donald Trump's an idiot. And that's the problem, right? And, he and Epstein, and now we know he and Epstein were organizing around this.
He went on to say a lot of things there, but the most important part that Tom said is that he won't need the Senate anymore. And the reason that that's important is the fact that he needs the Senate. That's the relationship that I feel that y'all, and I don't mean just y'all, everyone, hasn't been able to relay to the public, is that Donald Trump has to have these senators and the House on his side in order to accomplish what he needs right now. He needs votes from these men and women who do these jobs. But the problem is that they've been bought and paid for by Israel. AIPAC, the money controls the House and the Senate. And so Trump has to do the will of Israel. And everybody's scratching their head going, oh my God, I voted this guy in and he's allowing a genocide. I voted this guy in. He's attacking Iran. I voted this guy in. And he's not even questioning Charlie Kirk's assassination. Why is he acting like this? Oh, well, it's because he has to deal with Israel, the ones that run our House and our Senate. That's why. And that's the message that I think we're missing. That's what I think the message needs to be, is to help people understand why Trump is dealing with this dirt, in my opinion. There's one more clip with Alex Krainer that I'm going to share, um, which I think needs to
And you see, like, oh
little
my God,
explanation.
Benjamin Netanyahu is going to Washington. He's going to demand that Trump goes and bombs Iran for them. Oh my God, if Trump goes and bombs Iran for them, then that's going to be the end of, there's going to be, they're going to sink an aircraft carrier, 6,000 sailors. They're going to launch missiles at every American military base in the Middle East. It's going to be thousands of U.S. servicemen dead. It's going to be, and then you're just like, oh my God, it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. Except there's a third solution, and that is to just tell the Israelis, we're not going to war against Iran. If you want to attack them yourself, good luck to you. Tell us how it goes. Do you know what I mean? And I know because I've been trying to pay attention to Israeli podcasts a little bit to see, what they're talking about. And they're not happy with Trump at all. And they, like one of the things that they learned is that, like they desperately need air defense missiles. air defense rockets.
All right, so the problem with this one is that from what we said earlier, when Tom was talking about we won't need the Senate to vote. He don't have to go kowtowing around trying to get uh, certain people to vote certain ways. That may be true at that point, but then when you talk about what Krainer brings up here is that um, Benjamin Netanyahu wants us to attack Iran and just destroy them so that it's no longer his problem. And part of that you would have to believe has to do with Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, because they've got a real estate deal that's going to go down, and the whole Gaza Strip's going to be turned into, I don't know, Trump Towers or Netanyahu Towers or whatever. Who knows what they're going to build over there? But it's all about money, and once the money comes in and the bulldozers start and they start building all these buildings, you can't have these uh, resorts, vacation. I don't know what this place is going to be, but whatever it is, whatever they turn it into, it can't be there and exist with Iran dropping missiles into their front yards whenever they decide that they're pissed off. We know from the 12-day war that happened in June that the Iron Dome just doesn't completely work. It might stop a lot, but I mean, who's going on vacation anywhere if you think that there's missiles going to drop on your head? So unless Trump can negotiate some kind of financial negotiation with Iran to keep them in check, then you would have to think that bombing Iran would be, you know, on Trump's plate because of the financial ties that he's going to have through his son-in-law and whoever else is involved in this real estate deal that's the Gaza genocide. Anyway, I appreciate y'all's time and hope it helps.